When there's no more room in hell, the dead will listen to Bloodfest, the podcast.
Hello, and welcome to Bloodfest, the podcast. I'm your host, Nate. Y'all know me, know what I do for a living. I'm joined tonight by our regular co-hosts, Casey. Casey, how's it going?
Good. I'm a little tired. I'm wiped out, but I had to mow the lawn today, so I'm getting to the point where I need to pay somebody to do it because I'm getting too old to
Yes,
do it.
that's about to say, when you get to be a senior citizen like you
hmm
really should just pay the kid down the street to mow your lawn. What if you fall and break a hip? What
Exactly.
then? I'm joined also, as always, by my buddy Josh. Josh, you sexy beast, how's it going tonight?
Hey, I haven't mowed a lawn in 15 years, and that made me tired him just saying it.
Okay, you want to hear
So I'm
something?
doing that good.
We have 3.5 acres, which is a lot to mow,
Nope.
but it works out really well for me because my wife mows it.
Well, how'd you do that?
Well, I bought her a really nice riding mower, which made it easier,
Uh,
but I have horrible allergies, and cut grass just makes my entire nose and face explode for about a day. So she honestly doesn't want me doing it because then she has to babysit me.
Lucky you.
So I was going to ask Josh, though.
Don't you occasionally?
No, go ahead. What?
Oh, I was just gonna say, don't you occasionally have a wee runaway pony
We did. That helped with the grass
or some
mowing a lot.
goats
Yeah,
in the neighborhood
I
to
need
help with the grass control as well?
I need goats. I keep saying we need goats, and Sarah keeps going, "No, you don't need goats."
You
And
do.
she's wrong. She's 100% wrong. So, everybody, actually, hold on. Before we do this, I have to bring this up. Before we started recording, while we were chatting, Josh was talking about what's going on at his place, and I'm gonna need more details, Josh. Someone was eating raw potatoes and drain cleaner and sniffing underpants.
Well, yeah, it's Sunday.
Oh,
Well,
okay. Okay.
it's Easter Sunday.
It is Easter Sunday. So I really felt like planning this episode. Easter's very important for a lot of people in this culture, so we should do something Easter themed. And if Easter is about anything, it is about resurrection. So this week we're doing zombies. We've got our friend Helen Broom to come on to
Woohoo!
talk about Dawn of the Dead. Helen, how are you doing today?
Hey, Nate, I am good. How are you? How's the
Uh,
wife? How are the dogs?
Oh, everything is wonderful. I want to kill myself. I'm
Good.
doing an overnight shift after we record this, so I'm gonna go like 2 days
Uh,
without sleep. I'm very excited.
Overnights in casinos are never good.
No, I don't. Oh, it's terrible. Well, I've got to power. It's stupid. I won't talk about it. I've got to power down all the servers for a thing and then bring them back up, and they're not gonna work. So that's what I'm into. So for for people joining us who aren't familiar with Helen and her husband Gavin do a podcast that I absolutely love called The List of Lists. They talk about a lot of great pop culture. So they're talking movies, they're talking music, they're talking TV. They do it with great humor and just they're very interesting. And honestly, you've got to listen and you've got to get on their Facebook group. They do polls about they're going through the Rolling Stone list of the greatest songs of all time, and they do chunks of it each episode, and then there's a poll to pick.
The greatest 500
Yes.
songs.
Oh, the greatest 500. Yeah. To pick your favorite, and I always love the polls because
Right.
I always feel like I'm often like the outlier because I'm always going through. Well, that's a good song, but I fucking hate it. And oh, that song's fine, but that band had other better songs. And here, let me pick the really obscure one that no one else will agree with. So, is that how you approach it?
You were one of two people who, you were one of two people who chose Last Night by the Strokes, and I was very offended. I almost blocked you.
But I love the Strokes. So tell them about your other podcast.
It's a band fronted by a Nepo baby.
Well, yeah, but you can't.
The other one, who is proud that he stole from Tom Petty. That song higher or lower down than American Girl is just offensive.
But American Girl's
But
overplayed.
anyway.
It's overplayed.
Yeah, all right. I will give you that. The other podcast we do, and it's funny. We used to have 5 podcasts. Now we only have 2. Gav and my daughter Stelly used to do a SpongeBob Squarecast, and SpongeBob and his house are still here next to me. Because
Nice.
Gav had never watched SpongeBob because he's a Scottish man who didn't have children until he married me. So it was basically Stelly explaining how Pearl could possibly be Mr. Krabs' daughter and things like that. So that is no longer. She's in high school now. She's a little too grown up to do podcasts with her
What?
stepdad, apparently. So yeah, I know it breaks my heart too. But I mean, Nate, you know her. She's she's a clothes horse. She's very popular. She's doing tennis. She's doing band. She's rocking the trombone.
She's bowling.
She just doesn't have time. She's bowling. Yes, she was on the bowling team this year, and so we just went on vacation, and every night on vacation we bowled, and I'm like, why are we doing this? But anyway, I was outvoted. We used to do a poetry podcast, which just kind of fizzled because it was very difficult to get guests who wouldn't cancel at the last minute. I'm sure you guys have never had that problem ever.
No, that never.
And our very first podcast, the reason why we got into podcasting is because we would have these conversations about the things that are different between America and Scotland. And we were kind of shocked when we got together initially how many things there actually were. So Common Language was our first podcast, but then we ran out of things to talk about. So that one kind of fizzled. So now it's just List of Lists. And our second podcast, and actually our most popular podcast, is called The Talk of the Street, which is a catch-up podcast for the British soap opera, the longest running soap opera in history, Coronation Street. And it's really bonkers. And they've had, like, in the past month, they've had a stabbing, a bombing, a rape, and an acid attack. So, comfort television.
So that's actually
masses.
that's honestly
And
that's
so-
just like a normal week where I live. So
I was gonna say, it sounds like Josh's
yeah, it
apartment
does sound like
complex.
Josh's apartment complex.
Man, that's been running since
And,
1960. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is one guy who has been there since day one, and Will Roach. He's been on from the very beginning. He was in the first episode, and he's still on it, which is just insane to me. And we have a lot of fun. We have relationships now with a number of the members of the cast and everything, and they love it because we like to be the ones outside the tent pissing in as opposed to inside the tent pissing out. So we're really kind of, frankly, maybe a little too honest about our feelings. I know I am. I think Gav is a little more gentle because he's the British one, but I'm the loud, brash American, so I can do and say what I want, which is kind of nice. And they're going to be offended anyway, because I'm a loud American. But anyway, I don't have that problem tonight because I'm amongst my kinsmen.
Yes,
So.
exactly.
But yeah, we
So
have a
I
lot
will
of fun.
I will put links and stuff for your podcasts in our show notes. And do you have a website?
Oh, awesome.
Do you have a website that we should link as well?
Yeah, it's.
It's okay. I'll get it after the show.
Can't remember. Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah.
I'll get it.
Honestly, Gav would be the one to.
Yeah, I'll hit him up.
Because he manages all that. He does all the producing and editing and all that fun stuff. I'm just the talent.
The talent. Yeah, exactly. Gav's the behind the scenes guy.
That's
You're
right.
the talent. That makes sense, honestly. It makes sense. All right. Well, we are together tonight to talk about one of the greatest movies ever made, George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. For anybody out there listening to this who hasn't seen Dawn of the Dead, this will be the one and only warning you'll get. There's going to be spoilers. This movie's older than any of you people listening. You should have seen it by now. If you haven't, what the hell, man? It's Dawn of the Dead. Go watch it and come back. We're going to spoil the fuck out of this movie. I'm going to spoil it
In
right now.
fairness, it's not streaming anywhere.
You know, that's so weird. So
I
here's
had
the deal.
I had to fly to France to watch this movie.
So this is the deal. There's a story
And
behind
even
that.
then I still had to rent it.
My copy is a 4K, a massive fucking box set. Casey's got the same one, and it's actually from the UK, because there is not a good American release of it, and the reason is Richard Rubenstein owns the rights, and he is pissed off. He just like lost his shit when he did a re-release of the original Night of the Living Dead theatrically in 3D, and it kind of bombed. It didn't make any money, so he decided for a while to take his toys and go home, basically, and he's been a real dick about it, although I'm hoping that's going to change because they just did the theatrical 3D release of Dawn of the Dead that I went and saw a few months ago, so hopefully that did well and he'll change his mind and let an American release be done.
I also think it's worth noting that Ken Foree of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, our opening
Vo-
intro is
voices
by
our
Ken
intro.
Foree, the star of Dawn of the Dead. He did that for us. That's actually like one of the most exciting things that's ever happened in my life. Ken Foree actually recorded a little opening for us. That's honestly, I will never get over that. Honestly, I'm gonna have that on my grave, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that the other day. That is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I know.
And I also need to get the full clip if you got when you guys have it,
Yeah,
so I can
yeah.
just sit here and listen to it over and over.
Yeah. I've got the whole thing because we only used part of it because it was too
Yeah.
long. What he recorded was too long for the opening, but we just used the I'm Ken Foree, and when there's no more room in hell, the dead will listen to Bloodfest the podcast, which I think is just fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Dawn of the Dead. So, the film starts, quick rundown of what's going on here. It starts in medias res, as the cool kids say, right in the midst of it. It's some amount of time after the events of Night of the Living Dead, and we start out in a TV studio, and zombies have already overrun everything. And we're seeing the people who are trying to get word out on the air about where there are rescue stations, where you're supposed to be able to go for safety, etc. And it's absolute chaos. And we meet our main characters, or two of our main characters. We meet Galen Ross, who was honestly one of the most beautiful actresses of all time. Still is one of the most beautiful actresses of all time, and super cool, and has not been in enough stuff. And we meet her boyfriend, played by Scott. Shit. I'm terrible. These guys will tell you I'm terrible at names. Who plays
Scott
Flyboy?
Reiniger. Yeah.
Reiniger. Yeah, Scott Reiniger, who plays Flyboy, who flies the traffic helicopter for the station, and he and her are running away that night with the helicopter, and they're going to pick up a friend on the way. We go from there to go ahead.
Isn't it his brother?
He calls him
Isn't the
brother.
cop his brother?
He calls him brother, but I think it's more like a buddy's brother type of thing. I don't think they're actually related. But we cut to what is one of the most brutal scenes probably to be on film.
Because they do kind of look alike.
They do look a lot alike. Yeah, they actually do. But I've always thought, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are brothers. I always just thought they were like best friends. But I don't know. I'll have to look that up now. Damn it. Casey, look that up.
Yeah. I'm looking.
Are they brothers? Is this messing with me? What are they doing?
Because I know when Peter shows up later, it's like brothers. She asks him about his brothers. Yeah. Are your brothers brothers, or are they
street brothers?
Yeah. Or she says street brothers, which is
brothers.
Just, it's one of the things in this movie that makes you kind of go, ah!
So a white man
You
wrote
know,
it in the 70s.
in hindsight.
I mean, he was doing
Right,
good, but
yeah.
he could have done better. What are you going to do? I mean,
And honestly, for a white man in the 70s, it ages pretty well.
it's woke, quite frankly. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say the film's woke. We immediately hate the racists.
Mhm.
So when we get to basically a tenement that the police, they look more like shock troops than police, really, are trying to clear out, and there's a gang leader who's got his people in there and won't leave. I felt like that guy was more Black Panthers. Well, he's Hispanic, so more Brown Power or something movement, and not a gang leader. I felt like he was just a community leader. And the cops are horribly racist, and they are just mowing down people of color in this tenement and seem to really be enjoying it. And we get, oh God, we should have pulled the clip of the neck bite scene. We should have pulled that so we could put this in here, because that is one of my favorite things that's ever happened in a movie, when the zombie just bites into the lady's neck and just like rips the chunk out. Full on top tier work by Tom Savini there. So guys, what am I missing about the tenement scene that you guys need
Absolutely.
to discuss? Hey Josh.
You know, the thing about the tenement scene, and that I find really interesting, is, and I was writing a review on Letterboxd, and I stopped because I had written this sentence. It's like he's inspired by the bombing in Philadelphia of the Move house.
Yeah, when they dumped
And then I stopped and I Googled it, and he's actually prophesying the Move house, because the Move house bombing happened in 85 and this movie came out in 78.
Yeah. So
Romero is really being really prophetic about what's going to happen in Philadelphia.
For anyone who doesn't know what that is, the Philadelphia police actually dropped bombs from helicopters on a residential neighborhood, and the fire department did nothing to put out the fire. They destroyed, I don't know, 70 homes, making hundreds of people homeless. They killed 6 or 7 people in the process, and it was, just because they didn't like a couple of people that were there.
Including children.
Yes, including children. Yeah. Well, see, everyone who lived there was, what's the word? Not white. So it was totally fine with the city fathers to do this.
No, I've somehow never heard of that. That's awful.
Yeah, dude. Seriously, spend a little time with our history. You know about Tulsa?
What, the Oklahoma City bombing?
No.
Tulsa.
So
The massacre.
American
Burned down the city.
Black Wall Street, yeah. So white people burned down basically an entire city, effectively, because they were upset that some black people were starting to make money.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I can't say I've ever been a big history buff, so it's not surprising that I missed a lot of that kind of
Josh
stuff in
knows all
school.
about that.
Yep, wrote a book about it. No, I haven't heard either one of those.
What? Dude.
Cool.
Bastard.
Oh.
So Romero being prophetic.
You didn't watch the Watchmen series on HBO?
Yeah, that actually dealt with it.
No, I
Nope,
haven't
never
seen
heard
that.
of it.
Never heard of it.
As did the
You talking about like that superhero type movie,
yeah.
The Watchmen?
Yeah,
No, I
not
haven't
movie,
seen it.
not movie. That movie's
not
bad.
right, yeah, but not the movie, the
movie.
television show that
Yeah.
came
No.
afterwards.
It was a
I didn't know there was a
miniseries.
show.
Yeah, it's really good. It's
not
really,
the awful
really good.
movie, the
Yeah.
miniseries.
Yeah, it's amazing. Honestly, it does.
It's very good.
It's very much about race in America, and it's very interesting. It is it is more of a sequel
Also,
to the
Lovecraft
Watchmen novel. Lovecraft Country. Fuck yeah, that was so good. Did you read that book?
Yeah, and that dealt with Tulsa as well.
Yeah.
I haven't read that book. It is on my pile.
It's really good.
It's time to read.
It's really good. It when you start reading it, you're thinking you're reading a collection of short stories, but it becomes a novel as you're reading it. Yeah. Big fan. All right, so we're not off the rails here. So at the tenement,
Not at all.
we meet Peter. We've never been on the rails here, seriously. We meet Peter, played by Ken Faree, who is the coolest cop in the world for some reason, and him and our buddy hook up, and they decide to go together on the helicopter, and they meet up with Flyboy, and there's a great scene. One of my favorite scenes, honestly, is they're at a port. Basically, they need to refuel the helicopter to get ready to go, and there are other guys there who are just stealing stuff, and they're basically, it's kind of a, ooh, we could have a fight, or maybe we could just let each other do what we're doing. And those guys are getting on a boat to go upriver to an island. What island? I don't know. An island, which is great.
I don't know.
Which is great to me. I've always loved this because after this movie, the first like actual, well, sort of sequel was Fulci's Zombie, sometimes called Zombie Part 2, it doesn't matter, which actually involves going to an island to fight zombies. So I always wondered, was that scene kind of the impetus for Fulci's screenplay? I don't know. But I love that scene. That scene has one of the first.
The thing I really
jokes.
love about this scene is that they're all cops except for the newspaper people.
Yeah.
So the other cops are going to like interrogate them and maybe take their helicopter until Peter, until the other two show up, and then it's like, oh, we're all cops here, so it's okay. Yeah. We can all steal stuff because we're all cops.
Yeah, we all do it together.
It's the most realistic thing in the movie.
I love the gag right before they take off. One of the boat people asks if anybody has any cigarettes, and everybody in the helicopter is like, sorry, man, I don't. And the minute in the air, everybody lights up. Everybody lights up. That makes me giggle every time. And actually, I was not too long ago, I was watching this with Sarah, and we were watching, because she had never seen it, we were watching the Dario Argento cut of it. And the first thing she noticed that was different was, she's like, where's the cigarette joke? That's the funniest thing. Where's the cigarette joke? And so I had to tell her, oh, sorry, Argento didn't like funny stuff. He cut it all from the movie, except for the pie fight. He kept the pie fight. So they take off, and they head out across country, not really sure where they're going. They're just going north for some reason. And we get a couple of little stops where we run into some exciting stuff. There's a gas station scene where we get to see the thing I know Josh loves the most. A couple of zombie kids get killed.
Yes.
Josh longs to see children die. Like, honestly. He'll call you up in the middle of the night, like, anything with dead kids in it? Can we watch that? His daughters are on his nerves again, and he's just fantasizing.
Yeah.
It's funny for me. The only horror I don't watch is typically stuff where kids are in danger. Like I can't watch it. But if they're zombie kids, then I'm fine.
Like The Children.
Oh,
the Children is freaking amazing.
Children is good. See, I like kids in danger's okay, but I like when the kids are the danger. You know, Village of the Damned. Who Can Kill a Child? The Children is a good one. There was one just watched called There's Something Wrong with the Children that was fun. Yeah, we just watched that. Yeah.
I just don't want to give my kids ideas.
Well, it's true. You never know with Stelly, honestly.
No, that's true. You never know.
Oh, she would definitely be a giallo type killer though, because of the style. She'd need, yeah. Oh, yeah, nice top coat,
Absolutely.
black leather gloves, a jaunty hat. Yeah, 100%. She's definitely an Argento character. So.
We always joke she's either going to become president or a serial killer.
Why not both?
Yeah.
It's called girl bossing, Helen. It's called girl bossing. Women can have it all now.
That's right.
So we also get one of the best at the gas station refueling there. We get one of the best zombie kills ever, which is the helicopter blade zombie head chop, which is absolutely amazing because it still looks really good. And this was Savini practical effects well before CGI existed. And I can't imagine the amount of danger they put that actor in to get those blades wiping right past his built up head.
Yeah, that's scary. I remember watching. It was an extra on the disc or something, and I think they talked about that, and the dude said it was very very scary because, I mean, you could tell it is a good scene, but he looks stupid. Like you can tell he's got like
His
a
head's
mega
built
huge
up
head.
a little, yeah.
Like he
yeah.
almost looks like Frankenstein's monster or something.
Yeah, well, fine.
But
Maybe he
still, I
is.
mean, whatever. I mean, some people have big heads, so
Yeah.
whatever. It was it was a cool scene, and yeah, I can't imagine going through that and with the fear of actually getting decapitated.
You know, that probably his dinner that night tasted better than any dinner he ever had before.
Probably.
Yeah. So, in all of that's basically the build-up to get us to what the movie is all about, which is how fun it is to take a trip to the mall. We all like to go to the mall, and this movie is basically one big advertisement for going and hanging out with your friends at the mall. Isn't that right, Josh?
Basically.
Come on, say stuff.
Stuff.
Don't make me drive up there and poke you with a stick again.
It's gonna be a long episode.
I'll swap
It's
over to my phone.
It's so funny because, I mean, mall culture just isn't a thing anymore. And so to watch this and to have this whole idea that the zombies are just attracted to the mall because that's where they wanted to go in life is something that it's hard to explain to, we're spent at the mall.
Yeah, it is weird, but like we recently we went to Kansas City and we went to, God, I can't remember the name of the mall, Oak Park Mall.
Oak Park, yep, that's a good one.
Yeah, and it was on a Saturday morning, early afternoon, and holy crap, it was packed.
Yeah,
I was blown away. Like the whole food court, like you can't even hardly walk. There were so many people in there, and I don't remember. It just blew me away. I just don't remember a time when I've seen that recently in a mall. Like you go to like the mall in Joplin, like North Park.
There's nobody
it's usually
there.
not. Yeah, it's not
there's
that
nobody
busy.
there. Half the stores are empty now. Just like you walk through that and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when there was something there.
But I think there's certain malls around that still evidently attract a ton of young people and old people alike. But
is mall walking still a thing for the elderly? I wonder if
it
that's
is
still a thing. Okay.
It is because my aunt actually told us
so,
just the other day that she was doing it the other day. So yeah, they do that.
I think I'd do some mall walking when I get old. When
Yeah,
I get old,
why not?
another 30 years.
More like 5 years.
Oh, fuck.
Aren't you about retirement age?
God, I wish. Wait. I don't think that's a thing though. Retiring, is that still a thing? Do we still do that?
It's still a thing.
Is
you
it?
can still do that.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think
It's
so.
just you just gotta wait a lot longer now.
Don't you have to have like money or something to live on?
Who needs money?
I spend all my money on Blu-rays.
Yeah, just turn around and sell them, and then you can probably retire.
And dogs.
And dogs, yeah. Well, I don't spend any money getting dogs. Just feeding them. It's very expensive. And
Right.
I just read an article that you're not supposed to give your dogs dog food anymore.
Oh right, yeah, you're supposed to like buy the real looking food that's like way more expensive.
That's also garbage too. You're supposed to actually cook them real people food.
Oh right.
Just with less sodium because they'll live longer.
So no Taco
I
Bell.
thought
then.
people food was bad for them.
Nope. So dogs evolved eating with us, eating what we ate. So they are developed to eat our food. The way dog food happened was there was a lot of like meat waste from slaughterhouses, stuff that you can't technically sell to people as food, and money was being lost. And capitalists went, We can tell people it's good for dogs. We can make money on it that way. And they invented the idea of dog food, and there was a huge thing to sell it to you that it was better for dogs to eat food that was specifically for dogs, when really it was just trash. It was just the garbage. So, yeah, and now apparently it's coming back around to no. Dogs develop to eat human food. You should give them your food. Just don't salt it all the time, because salt's not good for them. Yeah, but I'm not doing that because that's expensive and a lot of work, and I'm old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
And they
back
wouldn't appreciate it anyway,
back
except
to
for
the,
maybe Chloe.
back to our that's true actually. Back to our weekly discussion of trends in pet food. So I also actually Chloe would absolutely love it. She's a little bit of a pig. What were we talking about, Josh?
Malls and
Malls.
pigs.
About the zombies being attracted to the mall because
The
that's what they
mall culture,
remember.
yeah. So okay, and I absolutely love when they see the mall. One of them says, "What is that?" And I think it's Ken Faree who goes, "That's one of those indoor shopping malls." And so I have thought for years, oh, malls must have been brand new in the late 70s. And then one day I looked it up. No, they'd been around since forever by then. Everybody knew what a mall was. So I don't know if that was like because they knew they'd have European viewers or what was going on, that they had to explain what a mall was.
That is weird. I don't know.
I'm wondering if it's because they were above it, and so they weren't quite sure what it was.
Oh, couldn't make
They
it out.
couldn't,
Okay.
You know, if there wasn't like any signage that they could see, maybe. I also love that they say it's one of those indoor shopping centers.
Yeah, centers.
As opposed to using the word
centers.
mall.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
use them. Yeah. It's like, okay, who is this movie for?
Well, you know what the movie really needed was when they got there, Tiffany should have been doing a concert. Didn't we all know? I'm looking at Josh to see if he has any idea what the fuck I'm saying, because he's younger than the rest of us.
Nope.
Okay, so there used to be this girl named Tiffany.
Oh, I know who Tiffany is.
She did tours at malls. That's where she did her concerts, was at malls.
Okay.
You would buy your ticket, go to the mall, and watch her sing. I'm sure eventually she played other venues, but that's like how she got
I think
big.
Debbie Gibson did it too.
She might have, but Debbie Gibson sucked. Unlike Tiffany, who was kind of okay.
Oh, ouch.
Never liked Debbie Gibson. Never understood it. Didn't get what the draw was.
Well, she never liked you either.
Well, probably not. No, I'm definitely not her type. I mean, so we're talking about undead cannibals, so I'm eating some of my skin. Hold on. Got a thing going on there. It's driving me nuts. I wonder who the hell listens to us do this? What is wrong with them?
I don't know. Is there more than Frank yet?
Yes, dude. We get some of our episodes go in the many hundreds of views. Many hundreds.
Oh wow.
We've got
Okay.
one that's approaching 1,000 on Spotify.
I didn't know we broke 10 yet.
Yes, dude.
We had to do 10 just to check it.
We're like almost on the edge of nearly being close to something like successful. Almost. Another 10 years.
Another 10 years, I was going to say.
Another 10 years. Dude, get some famous people on here. I'm going to call up Tom Savini, see if he'll come on.
He might. I just watched the Grimm Collective. Is that what it is? Grimm Collective? You know what I'm talking about.
Grim Life Collective.
Grim Life Collective. Yeah, so him and his baby ghoul, as he calls her, his wife, they actually went to tour his school he's got.
Yeah.
So where they teach like how to do makeup and all that stuff. And they just thought they were going to get like a tour from somebody else, but it actually was Tom Savini there. And he took them through the whole school and the whole process and everything. And then he invited them back to his house.
Really?
And showed all of his, yeah, and then walking through his whole house. Showed all of his private collection and everything.
That is so
And
cool.
yeah, and they were just like, you can see at the end of the video, like he was like, I can't believe this happened. Like we thought we were going to just, see the school with some random guy that works there, but no. Tom Savini took us to the whole thing and then took us to his house. so they were just like flabbergasted.
Okay.
So he might.
If that happened, we might have a problem.
What's that?
Well, you guys might have to hold me back because I would mouth kiss Tom Savini. It's like
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance. I mean, I might reach out to him. Maybe he'll hop on here. Who knows?
I'm gonna find out who his agent is. I'll do that tomorrow. Find out who his agent is. I love writing to agents, just shooting off emails. 90% of them you never hear back. Then of the other 10%, 9 out of the other 10 are like, well, it's very nice of you to reach out, but honestly, we're too important for you. And then 1 out of 10's like, fuck yeah, they'll do it. Hold on. So it's kind of crazy. Okay, so back to my desire to let Tom Savini savage me sexually, even though I'm not gay. So they get to the mall. Don't laugh, Josh. You know you'd be there too. You're like, Mr. Savini, I will be whatever you need. You know it. Where the fuck was I? That's right. So we're at the mall. And at the mall, which is supposed to be just like a quick stop, get some rest, get back on the road. But they discover that there's like unused storage space up in the attic. There are, for some reason, boxes and boxes and boxes of like disaster rations and lots of useful stuff. And they figure out right away that they could actually hide out there for a while. And so initially it's just going to be, a few days. Let's catch our breath. Let's, get ready, make a plan, whatever. But it becomes too cool, honestly. They're at the mall. It's got everything you need. They don't show in the movie, but I assume there was a Chuck E. Cheese there. I mean, there almost had to be. It's a mall in the late 70s, right? Chuck E. Cheese was there. The mall also has, probably my favorite thing, is an ice skating rink, which seems so bizarre, except I've been to a mall with an ice skating rink. There used to be one in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I believe, that had an ice skating rink. So that's not even like a weird thing. It was a thing, apparently. You go to the mall and ice skate. So, you guys ever go to the mall and ice skate?
Nope, never been.
No, but we have a mall near us that has a go-kart track inside of it. And then there's a mall closer to Detroit that has a Legoland and an aquarium in it.
See, I would go to,
I've been to those.
I'd 100% go to Legoland and an aquarium. I would do that. Yeah. I might even take like my little nieces that are young enough to go to Legoland. Do they let unaccompanied adults go to Legoland? Can I just like hang out or do they put me on a list?
I'm sure you'd be fine.
Josh, did you get on a list when you went to Legoland?
What?
I'm just asking.
I plead the fifth.
Did you have to go around and knock on everybody's door in your neighborhood?
And tell them I love Legos?
Yes. I have a problem with Legos.
I was going to do that anyway, so the fact that it was court mandated didn't really mean anything.
Okay. Bastards. All right. So our intrepid adventurers, who are all incredibly cool, they build a fake wall to basically hide where they are, so that if someone shows up at the mall, they'll never find their hideout. The idea is, and they do a good job. I mean, I don't know how long these guys studied carpentry before the zombie apocalypse, but quite honestly, you'd never know that there was a doorway there. It's just completely hidden by fake wall. They paint it up nice. They make it all match. One of the things that's always bugged me is the paint matches. How could they be sure to get the paint that matches? I mean, do you know how difficult it is to match paint that's been around a while?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very.
Josh, what are you doing?
I'm assuming like in that storage area, there's probably some leftover paint
For repairs.
that was bought just in case they had to patch up. Yeah.
Yep, for the repairs.
That's the only explanation. That makes sense.
We find out that Galen Ross is pregnant. Josh is done. We start talking about pregnancy. He's out. He just left. Either that or he went to get some raw potatoes. I don't know.
And then there's the bizarre, just like out of the blue, Peter saying, do you want to get rid of it?
I know how.
I can perform an abortion.
I know how.
I know how to perform an abortion.
So,
and it's like, I don't know if I want to know how you know how to perform an abortion,
Yeah,
police officer.
you know how it is. You pick up things on the street. I can weave, right? I mean, would you expect
Like
that? It's just something I
fetuses.
picked up. It's just yeah. Well, and plus, we were in something of an economic recession at the time. Food was scarce, and fetus is a lot of protein. Really, you need to. Oh, come on. Okay.
Hey, we're not talking about the road tonight. Leave that for the road discussion.
I think it's out there. I can get rid of it if you want to. I know how. Is out there, but it's also very interesting because she is pregnant, and the men immediately move into their own little. We'll go over here and discuss her situation and make a plan, and they leave her out of it as if she's just a thing. She's something that has to be
Yeah.
dealt with, and they, as the men, are going to figure it out. And I would be mad at the movie at that point, except then she comes back with, no, y'all ain't making decisions for me. And by the way, I want a fucking gun and I want to know how to use it. And you're not going anywhere without me. And also, I'm learning to
Right.
fly the helicopter. And I'm like, there you go. There's
Right.
my girl.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's the real girl boss.
Yep, that's the way to do it. So,
It's
Josh.
it's great. This is one of the things that I really love about Romero is this sort of thing, because the men sitting around and talking about her and her pregnancy and what to do about her pregnancy and everything, even in the late 70s, that wouldn't have been outside the realm
No.
of real life. I mean, by 78, women had only been allowed to have their own credit cards for 3 years.
Yeah. Roe
So
was only
for that
5
to
years in the
happen,
past.
people in the audience were probably like, "Oh yeah, sure, okay." And then for her, for audiences in the 70s, the bit where she's like, "Oh hell no, I'm going to learn how to shoot a gun, and I'm going to learn how to fly the plane, and I'm going to make decisions for myself," that would have been the really subversive thing in this scene. And this is one of the reasons why I love Romero so much.
Yeah. So, with a couple of exceptions, because he has a couple of clunkers, Romero's films tend to be really, really smart, and he really seems to have something to say about our society. And yeah, that's kind of why I'm drawn to him, honestly. Casey?
I just think it's a cool movie.
Casey's like, I don't know, is it about something?
It is one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie of all time. It's definitely in my top 5 for sure. Night of the Living Dead would probably be in that same top 5 as well.
See, I like Dawn better than Night. I like Day better than Night.
I like Dawn, but Day I'm a little
controversial.
It was good, but it took me a while to think it was good. Like
Day?
I didn't like
Really?
it the first couple of times I watched it. I thought it was pretty terrible.
Really?
Yep.
But
I just didn't like the setting. I didn't like that asshole. I can't remember his name.
He's running this monkey farm now.
He's actually he's one of the dudes at the dock in Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. That is correct. Yeah.
I just didn't like it. I don't know.
In Dawn, it might even be, I can't remember if it's like the gang leader in the tenement. One of the guys is actually John Amplis from Martin, but with like bad brown face, which I really hate that they did that, and a terrible wig. But it's good to see John Amplis around, because he's Martin. So, what happened to Josh?
I don't know. He went to sleep, maybe. I'm sure. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's got to go tend to something.
He's got to tend to Jennifer.
Maybe
she needs tending to. She has to be tended. She was smelling underpants and eating potatoes earlier, so I don't know what that's about. So, anyway, we're at the mall. We know what's going on. Everybody's going to have a good time. They've got to clear the zombies out of the mall, and that's where things are going to go bad. Where'd I put my thing? There it is. That's where things are going to go bad. So they get a great plan that involves moving big heavy trucks and putting them in front of the doors, so nothing else can get in, locking all of the doors, all of that. Hold on, this is important. Okay. Um, Locking all of the doors, going through. They're going to clear out all the zombies. But our our hero, um, God, why am I so bad with names?
What, Roger?
Roger, thank you, Raj. Jesus. So Raj gets a little overexcited, maybe freaked out, starts taking chances, starts doing dumb stuff. He keeps insisting that we got this, baby. We got this, but he ain't got this. He manages to get himself
Yeah.
bitten pretty badly. Again, it's a major cringe moment. Zombie bites into like Achilles tendon area, and there's some ripping. And honestly, it's the kind of thing that if you have a scrotum, that scrotum is going to kind of draw up inside your body when you watch it. I don't know what happens to people who don't have scrotums. Maybe it doesn't affect them at all. I don't know. Helen, does that scene have
Never
any
had that
effect
problem.
on? Oh, okay. So maybe it's just the scrotum havers that freak out at that. Josh, not Josh. God damn it, Joey. You're known for having like a really.
Can I be honest here?
Yeah. Yes.
I kind of hate Rod anyway, so this doesn't bother me at all. He's like my least favorite of the four of them.
Really? Not Flyboy? Flyboy's the one that's kind of annoying.
You know, idiot too. But there's something about Raj. There's I don't know. There's something about Raj that just, because at least Flyboy, you know, had this plan to get them all out on the helicopter and everything.
Yeah.
Flyboy's an idiot because he doesn't know how to shoot a gun.
Yeah.
You know, Galen, who's like, you know, who learns how to shoot a gun during the movie, is a better shot than he is, because she's able to pick off those zombies from the roof, and Flyboy can't hit a single one. Yeah. So, you know, Peter has always been my favorite of the men.
He's the star of the
you know,
entire thing. Yeah.
All three of them. Right. Yeah. The whole movie, you're just sitting there. I mean, the movie is fun.
Yeah.
I love this movie, but the whole movie, I'm sitting there thinking, if they would just put her in charge, none of this would have ever happened.
Yeah, honestly.
They would already be in Canada.
Yeah.
By now.
Well, so that's the thing, though. The mall.
And I think that's really interesting too, because she'd be the one being all gaga about being in a mall, but it's the dudes who seem to think they need money and televisions during the zombie apocalypse.
So the mall is a trap. It's a trap. So there's a goal. There's a worthwhile goal that you can work toward and get to, but you can't be caught in the trap, and the trap is consumerism. It's consumerism that eats our life,
right.
That takes away our goal. Consumerism is the reason I'll never retire, because all of my money goes to Blu-rays. You see, Casey? That's what I was getting about earlier. You see, I brought it back around.
Yeah.
And dog food.
And dog food. And dog food, yeah. When I should just be buying those dogs' T-bones and cooking them up with a little butter. No garlic, though. Dogs shouldn't have garlic. Yeah. So Peter gets horribly wounded, and he is clearly dying, but they get them all fixed up beautifully.
Not Peter.
Not Peter. God damn it.
Roger.
Raj. Damn it. See, I can't do names because of the brain damage. I don't know names. They get them all fixed up nicely. We get one of my favorite kills. God, there's so many good kills in this. The screwdriver through the ear. Absolutely beautiful. There's actually
I love that.
There's a funny story about, so Savini has talked about some of the kills ended up in the movie just because Savini would say to Romero, I think I can put a screwdriver through a guy's ear and kill him. I think I can make that work. And Romero's like, yeah, we'll film it. Let's film it. We'll figure out where it goes. Let's do it. And Savini actually said at one point, he thought, I could have gone to Romero and I could have said, I could make a dragon come out of that fountain over there. And Romero would have been like, let's film it. Let's do it. If you can make that happen, do it. So
That's
yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, Romero. That's one of the cool things about Romero. He was so open to everybody's ideas and letting things happen and then figure out how it works. So anyway, they get them all right, and then our buddy Raj dies. There's actually a really, really, I've always thought, kind of moving scene where he's telling Peter, "I'm gonna try not to come back. So don't put the bullet through me until you're sure I'm gonna come back, because I'm gonna try not to come back." And then, of course, he comes back. They always come back because resurrection is what this day is about.
Yeah, that was a very sad scene because I liked Raj, but yeah, he was dumb. He was stupid, but
No,
he
yeah.
was a fun character.
But it's okay. I like stupid people.
Yeah,
There are some really, really wonderful stupid people. You can be dumb.
that's why
as
you're
long as
hanging out with us.
That's what I'm dumber than any of you guys. I'm the one who came up with doing this shit. Clearly, Josh has got it worked out. You just get your camera set at the posters and leave.
Now I just need to get Savini to make him a mannequin of himself.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, I like that it's Peter and not Flyboy who shoots him, because I've always really, I have found the relationship between Roger and Peter really interesting because they have this shared trauma of what happened in the tenement. And it's really bonded them together, so they're even stronger together than brothers would be.
Yeah.
And I also think the makeup for Zombie Roger is some of the best zombie makeup in the movie. Because let's be honest, some of those zombies came in and only had time to get their faces done in the morning.
Yeah, most of them look like crap. But
yeah, honestly. Which is
whatever. It didn't bother me.
They're working with no money. They're doing it fast. Yeah. They're in an actual mall, and they would set up when the mall closed, and they had to be done and cleaned up because they make a mess doing this shit before the mall was ready to open each day. So I mean, and it's not like they could afford to hire a cleaning crew. Like the crew, the actors, everybody was like, "Oh crap, better wipe up this blood." Do. I'm starring in a movie. Better clean this. So
yeah, that's one of the things that I love about it is that it's so lo-fi, and so low budget. It's just kind of the passion and the genius of Salvini that just that powers it through. It doesn't work without him.
Yeah. Well, and then Savini's going to show up in a very important role because, as we tend to learn in these movies, the zombies aren't the real villains. It's the other people. So just as the remaining three think they've found some equilibrium, a place they can live, a way they can live, at least for a while, that's when the Raiders show up. And the Raiders are this massive band of people in trucks and motorcycles, and they are well organized. They're like a private army, and they go from place to place, taking what they want, apparently. I've actually often thought that the Saviors in The Walking Dead were supposed to be a take on the Raiders from Dawn of the Dead. I've often thought that that's what they were doing, except, Negan's not nearly as cool as Savini and those guys.
Well, as a Negan lover, I don't know. That's tough to say.
I just want Negan to shut up. Just shut up. You talk too much, man. I don't know how you could like Negan.
Well, I hated him initially for obvious reasons, but he was a good villain.
Because he killed Glenn, the fucker.
Hey, spoilers. But yeah, he was a really good villain. But then later, towards the end of the show, they turned him around, and he becomes a very likable character.
So I stopped watching. Honestly, I never saw the last season because I was done. I should have been done. Okay, so here's the deal with The Walking Dead. While we're talking about The Walking Dead tonight, The Walking Dead was a great show up until the moment after Terminus. Terminus. That was the best. Yeah.
That's when I stopped watching it, and then once they were completely done with the the series, I went ahead and I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I watched that much of it. I might as well finish it. So
Yeah, see,
I'm glad I did.
I should have stopped after Terminus. I just kept expecting it to get that good again, and it never would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it never would. And now there are like 19 spin-offs, and
Yeah.
Maggie and Negan going to New York, and then Rick and Michonne are in Europe or something, and then you've got Norman Reedus going to, I don't know. He's gonna
France, I think.
Yeah, he's gonna be in France. Probably he's just gonna do like motorcycle tours and broadcast it. I don't know. That's what his other show was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Nobody knows what I'm talking about. So the Raiders show up, and they are not there to stealthily come in and take things. They just smash and grab. So they move some of the trucks. They smash the glass doors. The place overruns with zombies again almost immediately. It does not go well. Flyboy has a real breakdown about this. So Galen and Ken Faree are very reasonably thinking, okay, shut up. We hide in our place. They won't find us. They'll leave. Then we can figure out what to do. And Flyboy's like, no, this is mine. I took it. It's mine. It's a property rights thing. We've got our stand your ground law here. This is a castle doctrine type situation.
We did all the work.
What? I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, no, he's like seething in the garden. He says, "We did all the work.
Yeah,
this is ours. We
yeah.
did all the work."
Yeah.
And you know, very very alpha,
which
sort of
does
behavior
not go well
from
for him. It really does not go well for him. So Flyboy's going to end up as a zombie. Elevator doors are going to open, and he's gonna shamble out there. And it is honestly an amazing scene. There's some great makeup on him. His zombie acting is top notch, in my opinion. I hear that he actually really prepared for that.
Oh, the leg work.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, dragging that behind. Oh, yeah. Oh. Mm-hmm. See, myself, if I were going to be in a zombie movie, I wouldn't prepare because I'm like Nick Frost.
So good.
I'd do it on the night. Nobody gets that joke. Bastards.
No.
Shaun of the Dead. When they're going to pretend like they're zombies to try to get past all the zombies, and it's like they're doing the little, okay, show me how you do, and they get to Nick. He's like, no. It's like, I do it on the night. No, nobody. All right. So,
I don't remember that part. I've seen that movie multiple times.
Yeah.
I remember when they're preparing, but I don't remember him saying that.
That's the gag in that scene.
Yeah, it must have went over my head, I guess.
All right. So everything goes downhill fast, and somehow this is okay. How long we've been at that mall is never super clear, right? But it's been more than a few days. It's been quite a while.
It's been a number of months.
Yeah, right?
It's been a number of months because her pregnancy has furthered quite a bit.
Yeah.
She is showing now.
Yeah. So here's the thing with this.
So it's been about 5-6 months.
How are there still all those pies? Because we get a pie fight, which I know is bizarre. It's weird. I love it. I would 100%, if zombies are all over and there are pies, I'm going to chuck some pies at some zombies. I mean, come on. Who would not? But how are there still pies? That just blows my mind. I also love the one biker who decides to use the blood pressure.
There's still quite a lot of stuff left.
Yeah. Yeah, but
why?
But
it's funny, but why?
All that whipped cream, though, that's not going to still look like that. That's going to be all broken down. Josh, what are you doing? You keep leaving. Last time you left, we cried.
Yeah. My favorite things are the pie fight and then things like the Hare Krishna zombie, the nun zombie.
Yeah.
And the nurse zombie.
Yep.
Those are like my favorite things because it's like we're just gonna sprinkle in. We don't want the zombies to just be kind of anonymous. We want to sprinkle in some zombies that you're going to remember because of these specific things. The one is a Hare Krishna. and one is a nun with a skirt that's far too high.
Yeah.
And one is a nurse, because apparently nurses wear their uniforms to the mall.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get down at the hospital.
I just love it.
Yeah, you get down at the hospital. You know, it's been a long shift. You run over to the mall, watch Tiffany perform, grab some Nutty Bavarian, maybe hit Orange Julius, run to the arcade. Yeah, of course.
I love it so much.
Yeah, you're gonna go in your nurse's uniform. So, our raiders completely destroy everything. The mall is overrun. The mall is done. There's nothing else to be done. The movie ends with almost a suicide. So Galen goes to get in the helicopter, and Peter's not going to go. And then he changes his mind at the last minute and goes up on the roof and gets in the helicopter, and we watch him fly away. There is actually, I don't know if they filmed it, but the original ending was going to be them both killing themselves. The helicopter sitting there, blades running, and as the closing credits were rolling, you would watch the rotor on the helicopter slow and stop because it was out of fuel. And so you'd realize that even if they hadn't killed themselves there, they were dead. They weren't going anywhere. There wasn't enough fuel to go anywhere, which I think would have been maybe too dark. I mean, I like dark, but I think that ending's maybe too dark. I kind of wanted the two of them to at least survive for now. I mean, honestly, it's things are very bad. Things are bleak, and so I've always had the feeling that they're not making it, but at least they're making it for now. Right, Josh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Where did you go?
I had stuff to do.
Did you have to poop? Were you pooping?
Well, no, I just do that here.
That's
He's
right.
sitting on the toilet.
He's
This
got
is
that
his
potty
bathroom.
chair there. Yeah, I always forget that. The hardest I ever made you laugh is when I asked if you were
He
pooping.
eats and shits and podcasts all at the same time.
Who doesn't, really? That's why
That's a
Joey's
talent.
not on camera. So, guys, first of all, we normally will, when we remember, rate films on a scale of 1 to 5. Helen, where would you put Dawn of the Dead on on a scale of 1 to 5? I can't talk. Why do I do a podcast?
You know, because I was thinking about this, and I, like I said earlier, I wrote my Letterboxd review of it earlier today after I watched it, and I think I gave it a 4. It was either a 4 or a 4.5 because I reviewed the new Dungeons and Dragons movie, and then I reviewed this, and one I gave a 4, and one I gave a 4.5, and I can't remember which one was which. But it's definitely up there. Like I said, you know, it's one of those movies that has aged fairly well. It is funny, and my favorite horror movies are the ones that are also funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that are kind of more the comic book sort of red gore sort of humor, and that are serious but don't take themselves too seriously. And just things like the pie fight. There are things that are just really beautiful and kind of haunting in this movie, like that whole montage where we just see them kind of living their lives in the mall. And there's that one scene of Galen by herself just ice skating in the skating rink. And it's just really, really, really beautiful, and says so much with just this one little scene. There's also the scene where she's putting all the makeup on and everything and the eyelashes.
Oh, I
and
love
then just
that.
takes them all off, which is really great.
The lighting in that is awesome too.
So absolutely. Yeah, there's so much to love about the movie that goes above and beyond the script. Does the movie have its problems? Yes, but they're forgivable. You know, if a later Romero movie, if there was a fat guy running around who only his face is blue and the rest of his body is just flesh colored, I would be really, I would be really upset and say, no, this movie is bad. But for Dawn of the Dead for 78, I just kind of chuckle and move on because I can recognize all of the great things that they did with this movie with this budget, and forgive the little things like that. It's just, it's definitely up there as one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, me too. Josh, what's your rating of Dawn of the Dead?
Oh, definitely 4 or 4.5. I mean, somewhere up there. It's one of the best. Especially, I mean, so I don't know. Going off of what the original Night of the Living Dead and then just making it its own, it's great.
It's great.
This is why I don't talk.
So it's a 4.5. All right, Casey.
All right, I'm gonna give it a 5 because I don't really look at 5 as being like perfect. I give any movie that is like one of my favorites just an outstanding movie a 5. So I'm gonna give it a 5
So
because it's probably about my favorite movie ever.
So personally, when people ask me what my favorite movie is, my response tends to be, well, John Carpenter's The Thing, Cronenberg's Videodrome, Romero's Dawn of the Dead. It's one of those. The day which one comes first is gonna vary, but it's always right there in my 3 favorite movies. It's a 5. It's a strong 5. If a 5 could take some steroids, then it would be that 5. By the way, a 5 on steroids is not a 10. Wait. No, I don't know. There was a joke there, but I don't have it.
It's an 11.
It's an 11. This one goes to 11. So anyone have any final thoughts about Dawn of the Dead?
Exactly.
Nope, not really. I mean, other than the fact that I could just watch it over and over again and never get tired of it. I mean, it's something I'll watch every year, at least once or twice.
Yeah.
And I recommend anybody who has, like you said at the beginning, who hasn't watched it, you need to go out and watch it. Even if you've heard all the spoilers today.
Yeah. It's
definitely worth watching.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how spoilable it is because there are so many details that we're just not going to mention. I mean, there's just so much that.
Right.
For a film that has, head exploding and neck ripping and ankle biting and guts coming out, it's actually pretty subtle.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, and for a zombie movie, the zombies aren't in it an awful lot.
No, really not.
There's these large swaths of just, them living in a mall and running around a mall and acting like idiots in a mall.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And even when they're there, we have a couple of scenes with really great kills, but for the most part, for the 4 of them to survive as long as they did in this movie is pretty amazing. You would expect at least one of the main characters to die a lot faster than they do here.
Yeah.
And I find that really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So my final thoughts on Dawn of the Dead are, why haven't you watched it? If you're listening to this and you haven't seen it, go see Dawn of the Dead. Go find it somewhere. Go buy a
Fly to France.
Fly to France. Yeah, get a British 4K Blu-ray box set that I only spent like hundreds of dollars for, or something. It's on eBay. Pirate it. Fuck Rubenstein.
And then buy an all-regional player.
Yeah, buy a region-free player. Yeah. You have to have a region-free player. So, Josh, any final words from you?
You have to.
Anybody? No. See, we're low energy tonight, and it's because you're all sad because I have to go work an overnight shift when we leave here.
Very sad.
Very sad. Very sad.
Yes, very sad.
Yeah. Joey, any thoughts on Dawn of the Dead? No.
One of these days we'll have to.
I think you cut out.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say one of these days we're just gonna have to sit down and trade casino war stories.
I don't like casinos. So many people
Because
gambling.
I worked at Foxwoods when I was in my 20s.
Did you love it? Did you love it? Yeah, a lot of people in there gambling. It's weird.
Eh,
You have
They're
to-
like zombies.
it is weird.
yeah, they're like zombies sometimes.
Mm,
I gotta be
absolutely.
careful. What if my boss listens to this?
True.
All right, kids. Well, this has been Bloodfest the podcast, and we've been talking with the wonderful Helen Broom about Dawn of the Dead. If you're listening to this and you enjoyed it, you might think about going out to your podcast platform of choice and giving us one of those 5-star reviews, maybe sharing it with a friend. If you haven't subbed, you should. YouTube is honestly the best place to catch us because you can look at my beautiful face while we're talking about it. It's at Bloodfest Podcast on YouTube. Be sure to follow, like, share, whatever you want. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're on Pinterest. I think we're on MySpace now. We've got a TikTok. We've been writing notes on scraps of paper and leaving them in various bus stations across the country. If you find one, it's your golden ticket. I don't know what you get for it, but you'll enjoy it. So this has been Nate, Casey, Josh, Joey, and Helen saying, catchphrase.